There are seasons in life when the pain feels louder than the promise. Moments when your heart carries questions that heaven has not answered yet. You look at the struggle, the betrayal, the closed doors, and you wonder how something that hurts this much could ever lead to something good. But what if the pain you're feeling is not the end of your story? What if it is the beginning of your purpose? Sometimes God allows pressure because purpose is being formed. Sometimes the tears are not a sign that you are breaking, but a sign that something powerful is being built inside of you. The very thing that tried to destroy your faith is the same thing God will use to reveal your calling. You may feel misunderstood, overlooked, or even exhausted from carrying battles nobody else can see. But hear this today, pain is not wasted in the hands of God. Every struggle is shaping you. Every disappointment is preparing you. And every moment of weakness is creating space for God's strength to be revealed. So before you give up on what you're going through, before you believe that your suffering has no meaning, remember this truth: the pain you're feeling is producing your purpose. There are moments in life when pain arrives without warning. It interrupts your plans, it shakes your confidence, and it leaves you wondering why something so heavy has been placed on your shoulders. In those moments, it is easy to believe that the pain is a punishment. It is easy to assume that the struggle means you did something wrong, that the hardship is proof that you have been forgotten or left behind. But pain is not always punishment. Sometimes pain is preparation. Preparation does not always look beautiful while it is happening. Preparation can feel like pressure. It can feel like confusion. It can feel like walking through a season where nothing makes sense and nothing feels fair. But preparation often happens in places where comfort cannot reach you. Preparation happens where your faith is stretched and your strength is tested. Many people want purpose, but they do not understand the process that purpose requires. Purpose is not built in ease. Purpose is not formed in the moments where everything is perfect. Purpose is often developed in the seasons where life forces you to grow in ways you never expected. The pain you are carrying may be shaping a strength you did not know you had. Sometimes God allows you to walk through things that change the way you see the world. Sometimes the heartbreak you experienced gives you compassion you never had before. Sometimes the rejection you face teaches you resilience. Sometimes the loss you endured deepens your understanding of other people's struggles. What feels like pain in one season becomes wisdom in another. What feels like confusion today may become clarity tomorrow. The very experiences that once made you cry may one day become the testimony that helps someone else survive their own storm. Preparation is often quiet. It happens in the unseen moments. It happens in the nights when you are praying for answers. It happens in the mornings when you get up and keep moving even though your heart still feels heavy. It happens every time you choose faith over fear. Every time you refuse to let bitterness take root in your spirit. Pain has a way of revealing what is inside of you. When life becomes difficult, it exposes your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. But it also reveals your courage. It reveals your ability to endure. It reveals the strength that was hidden beneath the surface of your life. Many people look at strong individuals and assume that strength came naturally. They assume confidence was always present. They assume courage was always easy. But real strength is often born from painful seasons. Real courage is developed in moments where giving up feels easier than continuing. The pressure you are under may be shaping the person you are becoming. The challenges you face may be preparing you for responsibilities you have not yet seen. Sometimes God allows you to experience difficulty because He knows where He is taking you. There are things you cannot carry into your purpose if they are not first refined. There are attitudes that must be transformed, perspectives that must change, and character that must be developed. Preparation reshapes the heart so that when purpose arrives, you are able to carry it with wisdom. Pain also teaches dependence. When everything is easy, people often rely on their own strength. They trust their own plans and their own understanding. But when life becomes difficult, something shifts inside of you. You begin to seek deeper meaning. You begin to search for guidance beyond yourself. In those moments, faith grows. Prayer becomes more sincere. Your relationship with God becomes more personal. Pain can push you into a deeper connection with the one who created you. Sometimes preparation looks like waiting. Waiting can be one of the most difficult parts of the process because it forces you to trust when you cannot see the outcome. Waiting stretches your patience and tests your belief that something meaningful is being developed behind the scenes. During preparation, you may feel overlooked. You may feel like others are moving forward while you remain in the same place. But comparison often blinds people to the unique journey they are on. Your process is not meant to look like someone else's story. Every purpose has its own timeline. Every calling has its own preparation. What feels slow may actually be necessary. What feels delayed may actually be protection. Sometimes pain teaches humility. It reminds you that life is fragile and that success is not something to take for granted. Humility creates room for growth. It opens the heart to learning and understanding. The struggles you endure also build empathy. When you know what it feels like to struggle, you become more compassionate toward others who are fighting their own battles. Empathy transforms purpose from something personal into something that serves people beyond yourself. Pain can also strengthen your voice. The experiences that once silenced you may one day give you the courage to speak with authority and authenticity. People connect with truth that comes from lived experience. They listen differently when they know your words were shaped by real struggles. The preparation process is rarely comfortable. It often feels like being stretched beyond your limits. But stretching creates capacity. It expands your ability to handle greater responsibility, greater influence, and greater impact. What you survive becomes part of your story. The hardships you endure become proof that growth is possible. The moments where you refuse to give up become reminders that resilience lives inside of you. Pain can refine your focus. It removes distractions and forces you to confront what truly matters. It shifts your priorities and changes the way you define success. Things that once seemed important may lose their power, while deeper values begin to take their place. Preparation also builds endurance. Endurance is not developed overnight. It is formed through repeated moments where you choose to keep moving forward despite discomfort. Endurance grows each time you face adversity and decide that quitting is not an option. There are lessons that cannot be learned through comfort alone. There are insights that only come through experience. Preparation uses pain to carve depth into your character. Sometimes the hardest seasons produce the most meaningful growth. The tears you shed today may water the strength you carry tomorrow. The confusion you face today may sharpen the wisdom you offer in the future. Pain does not always mean something is wrong. Sometimes it means something is being formed. Sometimes it means a new version of you is emerging through the pressure. The process may feel slow and uncertain. You may not always understand why certain things had to happen the way they did, but preparation is rarely clear while you are inside of it. Its meaning often becomes visible only after time has passed and growth has taken place. There are battles in life that nobody sees, struggles that happen behind closed doors, moments when you smile in public but wrestle with questions in private, seasons when the weight on your heart feels too heavy to explain to anyone around you. Those hidden battles can make you feel isolated, like you are fighting a war that nobody else understands. But the battles you survive are never meaningless. Every struggle carries a lesson. Every storm leaves behind a story. And every hardship shapes a voice that can speak to others who are walking through similar pain. The battles you survive become the message you carry. When you are in the middle of a battle, it is difficult to see anything beyond the pain. Your focus is on survival. Your focus is on making it through the day, holding on to faith, and finding enough strength to keep going. In those moments, you are not thinking about purpose or impact. You are simply trying to breathe through the pressure. But something powerful happens when you survive what once tried to break you. Survival changes perspective. It shifts the way you see your experiences. What once felt like pure suffering begins to reveal deeper meaning. Many people search for a message to share with the world. They look for the right words, the right platform, the right opportunity to make a difference. But often the most powerful message does not come from theory or knowledge alone. It comes from experience. When you have walked through darkness, your voice carries a different weight. When you have endured hardship, your words carry authenticity. People recognize the difference between advice that comes from observation and wisdom that comes from survival. The battles you face shape the way you speak, the way you encourage, and the way you understand others. Your experiences create a connection with people who feel lost in their own struggles. Someone who has never faced betrayal may struggle to understand the depth of that pain. Someone who has never experienced loss may find it difficult to comfort a grieving heart. But when you have survived those experiences, your presence alone becomes a form of reassurance. Your story becomes proof that healing is possible. Your journey becomes evidence that pain does not always have the final word. When people see that you endured what once seemed impossible, they begin to believe that they can endure as well. The battles you survive also reveal the strength that lives inside of you. Many people underestimate their own resilience until life forces them to confront challenges they never expected. Adversity introduces you to parts of yourself that were hidden during easier seasons. Strength is often discovered through struggle. Courage is often revealed through fear. Resilience is often built through repeated moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. When you come out on the other side of a battle, you carry something valuable. You carry perspective that cannot be taught in books. You carry lessons that were carved into your heart through experience. Those lessons shape your message. They influence the way you speak about faith, perseverance, forgiveness, and hope. They give your voice depth and sincerity. Sometimes the very thing you wish never happened becomes the foundation of your impact. The pain you once prayed to escape becomes the testimony that inspires someone else to keep going. The battles you survive also deepen your compassion. When you know what it feels like to struggle, you become more patient with others who are struggling too. You listen differently. You care differently. You recognize the silent pain that many people carry behind their smiles. Compassion transforms your message from something that simply informs into something that heals. People do not only need advice, they need understanding. They need to feel seen and heard by someone who truly understands the weight they are carrying. Your message becomes powerful because it comes from a place of empathy. It comes from a heart that remembers what it felt like to be overwhelmed, discouraged, and uncertain. Sometimes the battles you survive also refine your character. Hardship forces you to confront parts of yourself that need growth. It challenges your patience, your faith, and your perspective. Through those challenges, you develop wisdom. You learn the importance of perseverance. You learn the value of humility. You learn that growth often happens in uncomfortable places. Wisdom strengthens your message because it adds clarity. It helps you speak about life with honesty and balance. It allows you to share not only the victories, but also the lessons learned during the difficult moments. Your message becomes a bridge between your past and someone else's future. The experiences that shaped you can guide someone who is just beginning a similar journey. Sometimes people are waiting for a voice that understands their struggle. They are searching for proof that the storm they are facing is survivable. When you share your story, you become that voice. The battles you survive also remind you that endurance is possible even when circumstances feel overwhelming. Survival teaches you that strength can appear in unexpected ways. There may have been days when you felt like you had nothing left to give, moments when you questioned whether you could continue. Yet somehow you kept moving forward. Somehow you found the courage to face another day. Those moments become part of your message because they reveal the reality of perseverance. Perseverance is not always dramatic or visible. Sometimes it is simply the quiet decision to keep going one step at a time. Your message carries power because it reflects both vulnerability and resilience. It acknowledges the pain of the battle while also celebrating the strength required to survive it. People connect with honesty. They are drawn to stories that reflect real struggles and real growth. When you speak from your experience, your words resonate with authenticity. The battles you survive also shape your purpose. They influence the way you serve others and the way you use your voice. Purpose often grows out of the very places where you once felt broken. What once felt like a burden may become a source of strength. What once felt like a wound may become a doorway to healing for someone else. Your message is not only about what happened to you, it is about what you learned, how you grew, and how you chose to continue despite the obstacles in your path. Every battle leaves behind a lesson. Every hardship leaves behind a story. Every moment of survival leaves behind a voice that can speak hope into someone else's darkness. The battles you survive shape the message you carry into the world. They become reminders that growth is possible, healing is possible, and transformation can rise from even the most painful chapters of life. There are seasons in life when everything becomes quiet, not peaceful quiet, but the kind of silence that makes you question whether anyone sees what you are going through. It feels like you are working, praying, growing, and struggling in places where no one is watching. It can feel invisible, like your effort is unnoticed and your faith is being tested in ways that nobody else understands. These are the hidden seasons of life. The moments where growth happens behind the scenes. The moments where purpose is being developed in places that the world does not celebrate or recognize. God often develops purpose in the hidden seasons of suffering. Many people imagine purpose as something that appears suddenly and publicly. They imagine recognition, opportunity, and clear direction arriving all at once. But purpose is rarely built in public first. Purpose is usually formed in private places where character is shaped long before influence arrives. The hidden seasons are where the foundation is built. They are where patience grows, where faith deepens, and where your heart learns to trust even when there is no applause or encouragement. During these seasons, it can feel like life has slowed down. You may look around and see others moving forward, while you feel stuck in a place of waiting. Comparison can make the hidden season feel even heavier because it creates the illusion that everyone else is progressing while you remain unnoticed. But hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are preparation. They are spaces where growth happens without distraction. They are environments where your character is being formed without the pressure of public expectations. Suffering often becomes part of this hidden process. It introduces challenges that reshape your understanding of strength and faith. It brings moments where you must confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. In the hidden seasons, there is no audience to impress. There is only the quiet relationship between you and the process you are walking through. That process refines your intentions. It clarifies why you pursue what you pursue. When purpose is developed in hidden places, it becomes rooted in authenticity rather than recognition. It grows from conviction rather than applause. It becomes something that cannot easily be shaken because it was built through real experience. Suffering also slows you down in ways that create space for reflection. When life is comfortable, it is easy to move quickly without questioning direction. But hardship forces you to pause and examine what truly matters. Those moments of reflection shape your values. They shift your priorities. They help you see life with deeper understanding. What once seemed urgent may begin to lose its importance, while deeper truths begin to take their place. Hidden seasons also strengthen your faith. When there are no visible signs of progress, faith becomes the only thing guiding your steps. It requires you to trust that something meaningful is happening, even when you cannot see it yet. Faith grows strongest in environments where certainty is absent. It develops through repeated moments where you choose to believe, despite the lack of visible results. In these quiet seasons, perseverance becomes a daily decision. There may not be dramatic victories or clear milestones. Sometimes the victory is simply choosing not to give up. Perseverance during hidden suffering builds resilience. Resilience forms when you continue moving forward, even though the path feels uncertain. It develops each time you face discouragement and still choose hope. The hidden seasons also reveal what is truly inside your heart. Without the attention of others, your motivations become clearer. You discover whether your commitment is rooted in purpose or in recognition. When purpose grows in hidden places, it becomes more genuine. It becomes less about proving something to others and more about fulfilling something that feels deeply meaningful inside you. Suffering during these seasons also teaches humility. It reminds you that growth is not always glamorous. It reveals that strength is often developed through quiet endurance rather than dramatic success. Humility allows you to learn from your experiences without becoming hardened by them. It keeps your heart open to growth, reflection, and transformation. Hidden seasons also shape your empathy. When you walk through pain privately, you gain sensitivity to the silent struggles of others. You become more aware that many people are fighting battles that cannot be seen from the outside. This awareness deepens your compassion. It influences the way you speak, the way you listen, and the way you support others. Purpose that grows through suffering often carries a deeper understanding of human struggle. Sometimes people only see the visible result of someone's purpose. They see the influence, the impact, or the success that eventually appears. But they rarely see the hidden seasons that made that impact possible. They do not see the nights of doubt, the quiet prayers, the moments of discouragement, or the long stretches of time where progress felt invisible. Those hidden moments are where the real transformation takes place. They shape your character in ways that public moments cannot. They build endurance that prepares you for greater responsibility. Hidden suffering also refines your perspective on success. It teaches you that true growth is not always measured by recognition or achievement. Sometimes growth is measured by the strength you develop, the wisdom you gain, and the faith you maintain. These inner qualities form the core of purpose. They shape how you carry influence when it eventually arrives. They guide the way you treat people and the way you respond to challenges. When purpose emerges from hidden seasons, it carries depth. It reflects the lessons learned through patience, reflection, and perseverance. The quiet process of growth may feel slow, but it is often necessary. Rapid success without preparation can become overwhelming. Influence without character can become unstable. Hidden seasons allow the roots of purpose to grow deeper before the visible branches appear. They create stability that allows your calling to stand strong when pressure eventually comes. Suffering during these seasons may feel confusing at times. You may not always understand why certain experiences had to happen or why certain doors remained closed. But hidden growth is rarely obvious while it is happening. Its meaning becomes clearer only after time has passed and transformation has taken place. The pain, the waiting, the uncertainty, and the quiet endurance all become part of the process that shapes your purpose in ways that cannot always be seen in the moment. There are wounds in life that change you, moments that leave a mark on your heart so deep that you wonder if healing will ever truly come. The kind of pain that lingers long after the moment has passed. Betrayal, rejection, loss, disappointment, words that cut deeper than anyone realized. Wounds like these can make you feel broken, as if something inside you will never be the same again. And the truth is, some wounds do change you forever. But what many people do not realize is that those very wounds can also become the place where healing for others begins. Your deepest wounds can become someone else's healing. Pain has a way of opening your eyes to realities you might never have understood before. When you have experienced hurt, You begin to recognize that same pain in the lives of others. You notice the silent struggles that many people try to hide. You hear the pain behind their words. You understand the emotions they cannot always explain. This understanding creates connection. People often feel most comfortable opening their hearts to someone who truly understands what they are going through. Not someone who only speaks from theory, but someone who has felt similar wounds and survived them. When you have been wounded, your compassion becomes deeper. You are less likely to judge someone's pain because you know how complicated healing can be. You know that recovery does not always follow a straight path. Some days are strong, and some days are fragile. This compassion becomes part of your healing as well. When you use your experience to support someone else, something inside you begins to shift. The pain that once felt meaningless starts to carry purpose. Many people try to hide their wounds because they feel ashamed of them. They believe their struggles make them weak or flawed. They think their broken moments disqualify them from being strong. But wounds do not always disqualify a person. Sometimes they prepare a person to understand others in ways that strength alone cannot achieve. Vulnerability becomes a bridge between hearts. When someone sees that you have faced pain and still found the courage to move forward, it gives them hope that healing is possible for them too. Your story becomes evidence that survival is real. Healing does not mean pretending the wound never existed. Healing means acknowledging the pain while refusing to let it define your future. It means allowing the experience to shape your understanding without letting it control your identity. Your wounds may have introduced you to grief, disappointment, or fear, but they also may have introduced you to resilience, empathy, and deeper wisdom about life. Sometimes the very areas where you felt the most broken become the places where you are able to help others the most. Someone struggling with betrayal finds comfort in the words of someone who has endured betrayal. Someone carrying grief feels understood by someone who has experienced loss. Shared experience creates trust. It creates a sense of safety where people feel comfortable expressing their emotions without fear of judgment. When you speak from your wounds, your words carry honesty. They are not polished or perfect, but they are real. People recognize that authenticity because it reflects the reality of human struggle. Your healing journey also teaches patience. You learn that growth takes time. You learn that emotional recovery cannot be rushed. These lessons help you guide others gently instead of pressuring them to move faster than they are ready. Sometimes healing happens slowly, one conversation at a time, one moment of understanding at a time. Your presence becomes part of that process for someone else. Wounds also teach humility. They remind you that everyone has moments of weakness. They show you that life can shift unexpectedly and that strength is often discovered in unexpected places. This humility makes your support more genuine. Instead of speaking from a place of superiority, you speak from a place of shared humanity. You understand that everyone carries some form of pain. Your wounds may also reshape your purpose. Experiences that once felt like personal tragedies can become the motivation to help others avoid the same suffering or to guide them through it. A person who overcame rejection may become someone who encourages others to believe in their worth. Someone who endured hardship may become a source of strength for people who feel overwhelmed by their circumstances. Purpose often grows from the places where life once hurt the most. Pain introduces you to the realities that many people quietly carry. It creates a sense of responsibility to bring light into those dark places. Sometimes healing for others begins with simple honesty. When you share your story openly, it removes the illusion that everyone else has a perfect life. It reminds people that struggle is part of the human experience. That honesty can be powerful. It allows others to feel less alone in their pain. It gives them permission to acknowledge their own wounds instead of hiding them. When wounds are hidden, they often grow heavier. Silence can make pain feel even more isolating. But when wounds are acknowledged and shared in healthy ways, they can begin to transform. Transformation does not erase the memory of the pain, but it changes the meaning of the experience. The wound that once symbolized loss can begin to represent growth. Sometimes the lessons learned through suffering become the tools you use to help someone else stand again. Your understanding becomes guidance. Your compassion becomes comfort. Your deepest wounds may have introduced you to parts of life you never wanted to experience. But those same experiences may have developed a level of empathy and wisdom that can reach people who feel unseen or misunderstood. People are often searching for someone who understands their pain without dismissing it. Someone who listens without trying to minimize their struggle. When you speak from a place of healing rather than bitterness, your words can bring reassurance to those who feel overwhelmed by their own wounds. The process of turning wounds into healing for others requires courage. It requires honesty about what you have experienced and patience with your own recovery. It means allowing your story to serve a purpose beyond the pain itself. It means recognizing that the broken places in your life may become sources of strength that support someone else's journey. Sometimes the very thing that once made you feel weak becomes the place where your greatest compassion and understanding begin to grow. There are moments in life when pain feels like it is trying to break you. The weight of disappointment, betrayal, loss, or failure presses against your heart so heavily that you begin to question whether you have the strength to continue. Pain can make you feel fragile. It can make you feel like everything inside you is falling apart. In those moments, it is easy to believe that the pain has come to destroy you. It is easy to assume that the hardship is proof that something in your life has been permanently damaged. But the pain that tried to break you is the same pain God will use to build you. Pain has a way of shaking the foundation of your life. It disrupts the routines and expectations that once made you feel secure. The things you once relied on may suddenly disappear. The people you trusted may disappoint you. The plans you carefully created may fall apart. When that happens, you are forced to rebuild. Rebuilding is not easy. It requires courage, patience, and faith in moments when your heart still feels wounded. It requires the willingness to start again, even when the memory of failure or loss is still fresh in your mind. But rebuilding often creates something stronger than what existed before. When something is rebuilt after pain, it carries new understanding. It carries lessons learned through struggle. Pain strips away illusions. It reveals the parts of life that were fragile or unstable. Sometimes the things that collapse during painful seasons were never meant to hold the weight of your future. When those things fall away, space is created for something stronger to grow. The rebuilding process allows new perspectives, deeper faith, and stronger character to take root. Many people try to avoid pain because it feels uncomfortable and overwhelming. But pain often carries the power to transform the way you see yourself and the way you approach life. When you survive something that once felt impossible, your understanding of your own strength changes. You begin to realize that you are capable of more than you once believed. That realization builds confidence. Not the loud kind of confidence that depends on success or recognition, but a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you have endured hardship and continued moving forward. Pain also teaches resilience. Resilience grows each time you face adversity and refuse to surrender. It develops through repeated moments where the easier choice would have been to quit. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you can survive difficult seasons. Every obstacle you move through becomes proof that pain does not always have the final word. The pain that tried to break you also sharpens your awareness. It makes you more conscious of the choices you make and the direction you pursue. Experiences that once seemed insignificant begin to carry deeper meaning. Pain encourages reflection. It invites you to examine your priorities, your relationships, and your values. It helps you recognize what truly matters and what no longer deserves your energy. Through that reflection, growth begins to take place. You start to release things that once held you back. You begin to embrace attitudes and habits that support a healthier future. Sometimes pain also strengthens your faith. When life becomes difficult, you begin to search for something deeper than temporary comfort. You seek meaning that extends beyond the moment. In that search, your relationship with God can become more personal and sincere. Pain often pushes people into deeper prayer, deeper reflection, and deeper trust. Faith that grows through hardship becomes resilient. It is not easily shaken by temporary setbacks because it has already been tested through real struggles. The pain that tried to break you also develops empathy. When you know what it feels like to struggle, you become more sensitive to the struggles of others. You recognize that many people carry invisible battles. That awareness changes the way you interact with the world. You become more patient, more compassionate, and more willing to support others who are walking through their own storms. Pain can also clarify purpose. Sometimes the experiences that hurt the most reveal the areas where you feel called to make a difference. They introduce you to problems that you feel motivated to help solve. Someone who experienced rejection may become passionate about encouraging others to believe in their worth. Someone who survived hardship may feel inspired to guide others through similar challenges. Purpose grows from the realization that your story can help someone else find hope. The pain that once felt meaningless begins to carry direction. What tried to break you becomes the source of your strength. What once felt like weakness becomes the foundation of your resilience. This transformation does not happen overnight. It develops slowly as you process your experiences and continue moving forward despite the scars left behind. Growth after pain requires honesty about what you have endured. It requires acknowledging the hurt without allowing it to control your future. When you begin to see your pain as part of a larger process, your perspective begins to shift. The experience may still hurt, but it no longer feels completely empty or pointless. Instead, it becomes part of a story that includes endurance, faith, and transformation. The pressure that once felt unbearable becomes the force that shaped your character. The tears that once felt like weakness become reminders of the strength it took to keep going. What tried to break you becomes the reason you understand resilience. It becomes the experience that prepared you to face challenges with greater wisdom and courage. Pain does not always destroy. Sometimes it refines, sometimes it reshapes, sometimes it builds a version of you that carries deeper strength, deeper compassion, and deeper understanding of life. The very experiences that once threatened to break your spirit may become the tools that help you stand stronger than you ever imagined. Sometimes when we look back at the pain we carried, we realize it was never meant to destroy us. The tears, the waiting, the battles nobody saw were all shaping something deeper inside of us. What felt like the end was often the beginning of a new strength, a new faith, and a new understanding of purpose. The struggles you faced were not wasted. Every moment of endurance, every prayer whispered in the dark, every time you chose to keep going when quitting felt easier was building something powerful within you. God does not ignore your pain. He transforms it. He takes what tried to break your spirit and turns it into the very thing that strengthens your calling. Your story is still unfolding. The pain you survived has already begun shaping the purpose you carry. The wounds that once felt like weakness are becoming places of wisdom, compassion, and strength. And one day, the same journey that made you question everything will become the testimony that helps someone else believe again.